Hi, welcome back to Taji's World of Books, and this is my book recommendations for the friends to lovers trope. Hi everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books, and I'm going to be doing recommendations on the friends to lovers trope. I have several books to recommend, so we'll see how many we get through. It has worked out really well for me in the past couple of weeks when I filmed some clips on the books that I'm reading as I read them, so you can get my fresh opinion on those books, and I did that this time as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion on one of the books that I'm reading, and I'll insert it here. So this is the 6th book in the Bridgerton series. This story is about Francesca. Francesca is married to John Sterling. She's married to John, and very early on in the story, you are told that she is with Michael, and Michael is John's cousin, and John and Michael are quite close. And there's this really nice banter that happens, very innocent, but very nice banter that happens between Francesca and Michael. And you see that they have a sort of connection. They tease each other and they banter back and forth, but again, it's quite innocent and there's nothing to it. And John is often there and hears it and doesn't have much to say about it. And so on one particular day, John says the three of them are together. You know, Michael and Francesca are great friends. Michael is a womanizer, and he's, you know, a rake and a rogue and all of these things, and he's out doing his thing. And this particular day, they're all together, and Francesca says, I really want to go and take in the air. And so John says, her husband says, well, I'm not really feeling great. I have a bit of a headache. I'm going to go upstairs and lie down before this meeting I have. Michael says, well, I'll go with you. So Michael goes with her on this walk, and they say, well, you know, wake you when we get back. They go on their walk. They have a great exchange. They head back, and they go into the house, and the butler comes down, and very quickly it's discerned that he is quite nervous and agitated because he can't wake John up, or he's knocking and John is not answering. And to make a long story short, John has died. You and I would know now is like an aneurysm, but at that time he just had a headache and went to sleep, and he has passed away, and Francesca is devastated as a result of this. And so the story then unfolds from there, and it is Michael and Francesca's sort of figuring out who they are after the death of someone whom is beloved to both of them. He's a beloved. And then also Michael now has inherited John's title because he is the next closest male relative to the title that John held. And so as a result, he inherits that title. And Francesca is very devoted to John, and she has to go through the period of mourning, but they have to develop and establish a rapport and a relationship because they are attracted to one another. You find out that Michael has been in love with Francesca this whole time, but has never acted on it because he would never dishonor his cousin in that way. And so basically it's their story, and it's beautiful. It's one of the better Bridgerton books. This is a 4 out of 5 star for me. They did a great job. I'm super happy and super pleased with it. And like I said, it's done very, very well. So that is the Bridgertons. Okay, so some of the other books that I want to recommend. The next one I want to recommend is Whispers and Roars by Webster. And this is another friends to lovers story. This is the story of Katie and Yao. This is a story of two people who grew up together. Katie and Yao grew up together. And it's very quickly discerned that Katie is in an abusive home, and Yao comes from a very privileged household, but they become friends nonetheless. And Katie is suffering as a result of her trauma that she experienced through her whole life. She's suffering from mental illness. And Yao loves her despite the mental illness that she has, and he wants to support her and care for her and make sure that she's okay. They have a period of separation where Katie sort of pushes him away, and Yao goes off to medical school and comes back, and they try to figure out their relationship. And you as the reader are left trying to sort through, like, what is the mental illness that she has, and what really is going on, and how does her family play into it, and how does Yao's family play into it as well, because Yao's family knows that there's something wrong with Katie, and they don't want that for their son. They want someone who is better than that for their son. But Yao is desperately in love with Katie, and it is clear that he is going to love her to health, and he is going to stick in there with her. This is a really emotional book that the author, K. Webster, really did a good job at researching this particular mental illness to do an adequate representation of this mental illness. I also love that they talk a lot about love and loss, both as a couple as well as with the family members that they are involved with, and how family, you need the support of family when you're entering in some difficult and challenging situations. So this is a surprisingly emotional, heavy, mysterious, trying to sort out read, but K. Webster did a great job. This is like 4.75, 4 stars, something like that, read for me, and I think it was well done, and I think you should check it out. Okay, so who doesn't love Penelope Douglas? And I had to include Bully in this story, and so this is the story of Tate and Jared. And Tate and Jared were best friends growing up. For whatever reason, Jared then becomes, as they grow up, Jared becomes distant. And she doesn't really know why. All she knows is that they were best friends once, and then he turned on her and made it his mission to ruin her life and to bully her and start do pranks on her, start rumors about her, and it just really starts to wear on her. And you don't understand why Jared has done this, but the story unfolds in all of the books, and Penelope Douglas did a great job. Who doesn't love the Bully series and the continuation of the next generation? And it's just it's a friends to lovers situation that was well done, and you want to kick Jared, but you understand once it's revealed to you what happened, why he became so angry and resentful. And so if you want to check out another Penelope Douglas, Bully is something for you. So since we're on the kick of Penelope Douglas, we might as well stick with Penelope Douglas and go into Punk 57, because this is the story of Misha and Ren, right? And so again, in this story, his 5th grade teacher sets them up as pen pals, but they're in pen pals with different schools, thinking that the name Misha should be paired up with Ren because of she wasn't able to discern the gender based on the names. And so they become pen pals. And they write back and forth as pen pals for like 7 years. And then after this 7-year period, as a result of their letters, they really feel like they get to know each other, they understand each other, they know how each other thinks. And then lo and behold, something happens and they are revealed to one another, or one discovers who the other is. And as a result of that discovery, he sort of is like, you're not who I thought you were, and now I'm pissed. And the situation sort of unfolds from there. There are little Easter eggs in this book, in Punk 57, that relate to Conclave in the Devil's Night series, and so she connects it to this as well. But this is another friends to lovers situation, and I thought it was really well done. And I love Penelope Douglas, and she always writes good writes great characters, great heroines, and lots of angst and lots of frustration. And as you're reading this, you're like, oh, you're frustrated and happy with them and mad at them and love them and want them to get it together. And it brings all of the feels. And so Punk 57 is definitely something you should check out. Okay, so who doesn't love Colleen Hoover? Colleen Hoover is another author that delivers in so many ways. There's no exception in this book as well. And so I wanted to include maybe someday because it's beautiful. And I think as you read this book, you definitely need to go on YouTube and check out the playlist of the songs that they write together and listen to the song that Griffin Peterson, I think is who she, Griffin Peterson is who she collaborated to create the songs with, and listen to it because it brings the whole story to life. It's just so beautiful. So at 21 years of age, Sydney is going on in life. She's enjoying stuff. She's got a great boyfriend named Hunter. She's living with her best friend, Tori. And something happens, and well, she's living in this complex. She sees across the way, she goes out and sits on her balcony, and she sees this dude. He plays his guitar. She listens to his music. She kind of like digs it, like whatever. She's the only person he is the only person she knows in her complex. Something happens, and as a result, her world is turned upside down, and somebody Ridge, who she becomes friends with, and she becomes roommates with, and she lives with, they start to write music together. And as a result of writing music together, because they're so in sync with one another, then you can imagine what happens as a result of it. And this story is so daggone beautiful. I love it. And you have to read all the trilogy, read all the books together, listen to Griffin Peterson's songs on YouTube as you're reading it because it brings the story to life. I think I know a lot of authors like put their playlists, their suggested playlists in books, because I don't know if you are like me, but I often think of when I'm reading a story, I will connect music with the story that I'm reading. For example, I'm way off topic, but who cares? For example, when I think of Anna Todd's After, and you guys know I love Anna Todd's After, when I think of that whole series, I often think of the Chainsmokers featuring Halsey, that whole album with the Chainsmokers and Halsey, all of those songs. I don't know, I just connect Anna Todd After and the Chainsmokers. It just comes together for me. And so anyway, in this particular book, they do it for you with Griffin Peterson's work, and it's beautiful and it comes together, and this is a beautiful story. You should check it out. And so obviously I'm just in a theme, I'm picking authors and I'm sticking with them. So let's stick with Colleen Hoover. So this is the story of Skye and Dean Holder. And Skye is a senior in high school. She meets Dean. Dean has a reputation of being a rake. We don't use that term, but he has a reputation of being promiscuous and he's just doing his thing. And from the very first time that she meets him, she has memories that are sparked in her of a deeply troubled past that she's trying really hard to bury. So Skye is determined to stay away from him, but as is plot points in these stories, they don't stay away from each other. They come together, and Holder has his own secrets that he's keeping as well, and there are certain things about Holder that's sparking her memory, but she doesn't know why, and it's kind of odd. And so the story unfolds from there. As they start to get closer, they start to develop a relationship. She's recognizing things, and once it's revealed, it is whew. Colleen Hoover delivered in this. The relationship is beautiful. You have to read I would suggest that you read all of these stories together, that you read Hopeless and Finding Cinderella and all the books. Check out how to read the books because there is definitely an order that you should read them. But even before you read this, you should read another of her books called All Your Perfects, I think. If it's different, I'll put it down here. You should read that book first, then go into this because there's things that happen. Again, she's another author that leaves Easter eggs for you, and you want to make sure that you find the Easter eggs. And so check out the reading order for Colleen Hoover because it makes a difference because they all connect. Okay, so you guys, that is all I have for today. That is my friends to lovers trope. I hope that you enjoyed my review of these books, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And you know that I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!